Karen Whitmore crouched behind the ambulance's rear wheel, her manicured fingers gripping the valve cap like a weapon of suburban justice. The emergency vehicle's red and blue lights painted the pristine sidewalk of Meadowbrook Estates in rebellious colors that absolutely violated Section 4.7 of the HOA lighting ordinance. No unauthorized flashing lights between the hours of 9 p.m. and 7 a.m., she muttered, unscrewing the valve cap with the precision of a surgeon. The hiss of escaping air was music to her ears, the sweet sound of rules being enforced. Behind her, 67-year-old Harold Zimmerman lay unconscious in his foyer, his wife Betty frantically performing CPR while the paramedics struggled to stabilize him. But Karen's laser focus remained on the ambulance parked 17 inches into the red zone of Elm Street, a clear violation of Municipal Code 12.3a. "Ma'am, what are you doing?" EMT Rodriguez appeared around the corner, his face a mask of disbelief. Karen stood, smoothing her velour tracksuit with dignity, ensuring compliance with community standards. "This vehicle is improperly parked, creating a safety hazard for residents. We're trying to save a man's life, and I'm trying to preserve property values." Karen's voice carried the authority of 3 consecutive terms as HOA president. Emergency or not, rules exist for a reason. Rodriguez stared at the deflating tire, then at Karen's resolute expression. "You're insane." "I'm thorough." Karen pulled out her phone, documenting the ambulance's infractions with the efficiency of a parking enforcement officer. Unauthorized parking, excessive noise after quiet hours, failure to obtain a permit for emergency lighting displays. The EMT ran back toward the house, shouting for his partner. Karen heard the urgency in his voice, saw the other paramedics rushing out with their equipment, but her attention remained fixed on the growing list of violations in her notepad. The tire was nearly flat now. Karen checked her watch, 11:47 p.m. Well past the noise ordinance cutoff. She'd have to file a complaint about the siren as well. "Karen," Betty Zimmerman's voice cracked across the night air. "Please, they need to get Harold to the hospital." Karen looked up from her documentation. Through the Zimmerman's bay window, installed without proper HOA approval, she noted, she could see the paramedics working frantically over Harold's motionless form. His skin looked gray under the tasteful recessed lighting. For a moment, something flickered across Karen's face, a shadow of doubt, perhaps even recognition of the human drama unfolding mere yards away. But then she spotted the ambulance's side mirror, clearly exceeding the maximum projection allowance for parked vehicles. "Rules are rules, Betty," Karen called back, adding another violation to her list. "If people would just follow the guidelines, we wouldn't have these problems." The ambulance was listing noticeably to one side now. The Trimpler truck arrived in 12 minutes, a new record for Meadowbrook Estates. Karen stood beside the ambulance, clutching her violation notebook like a shield, watching the technician work with efficient precision. The EMTs had Harold loaded and ready to go the moment the new tire touched asphalt. "Clear!" Rodriguez shouted, and the ambulance roared to life, disappearing into the night with its precious cargo. Karen was alone on Elm Street, surrounded by the evidence of her choices. Tire pressure gauge in one hand, HOA rulebook in the other, she felt the weight of what she'd become settling on her shoulders like a burial shroud. "Karen," Dr. Chan approached carefully, as if approaching a wounded animal. "The hospital called. Harold's stable. They got him there in time." Relief flooded through Karen's body, leaving her legs weak. She sat down heavily on the Zimmerman's perfectly manicured curb, a violation of the loitering ordinance, she noted automatically. "I could have killed him," Karen whispered, "but you didn't. You made the right choice when it mattered." Karen looked down at her notebook, filled with 3 years of petty violations and power trips. Every parking infraction, every unauthorized garden gnome, every slightly overgrown hedge, it all seemed so meaningless now. "I used to be different, you know. Before Michael left, before the kids moved away, I used to care about people, not just property values." Dr. Chen sat beside her on the curb. "You still do. You just forgot for a while. The neighbors will never forgive me for this." "Maybe not. But forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you." Karen closed the notebook, and tucked it into her jacket pocket. For the first time in months, she didn't feel the compulsive need to document every minor infraction around her. The street lamp at the corner was flickering, a clear violation of municipal lighting standards, but she let it flicker. 3 days later, Karen received a hand-delivered letter on expensive stationery, no return address. Inside, a single sentence in elegant script. Some rules are meant to be broken, others are meant to break you. Choose wisely. It was signed with a simple initial, M. Karen read the letter 3 times, her hands trembling slightly. Michael's handwriting was unmistakable, but he'd moved to Phoenix 6 months ago. The postmark was local, dated yesterday. She walked to her window and peered out at the perfectly ordered streets of Meadowbrook Estates, wondering if her ex-husband was watching from somewhere in the shadows. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Coffee tomorrow. We need to talk about the real reason I left." Karen stared at the message, her reflection ghost-like in the window glass. Outside, Mrs. Patterson was walking her dog without a leash, a clear violation of City Ordinance 7.2b. Karen's hand moved instinctively toward her notebook, then stopped. Some rules, she was learning, were more dangerous than the violations they were meant to prevent. The phone buzzed again. Same number. "The HOA isn't the only thing that needs fixing." "Karen, what have you done?" Dr. Sarah Chen, the neighborhood's most respected resident and Harold's cardiologist, stood in the doorway, her scrubs still stained from an emergency surgery. Even she looked shaken by the scene before her. "I've maintained order," Karen replied, though her voice lacked its usual conviction. The ambulance sat grotesquely tilted, its deflated rear tire rendering it immobile. Inside the Zimmerman house, she could hear the controlled chaos of medical emergency, oxygen masks, defibrillator charges, urgent medical terminology that sounded like a foreign language. "Harold is dying," Dr. Chen said quietly. "His heart stopped twice. They need to get him to the cardiac unit immediately." Karen's pen hesitated over her violation report. "The backup ambulance will arrive soon. I called it in 20 minutes ago." 20 minutes Harold doesn't have. Rodriguez emerged from the house, his face grim. "We need to move now. His vitals are crashing." He spotted the deflated tire, and his expression darkened. "This is on you, lady." "I was protecting the community," Karen snapped, but her words sounded hollow even to her own ears. Dr. Chen stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Karen, I know you've been struggling since Michael left. I know the HOA presidency is all you have left, but this isn't the way." The words hit Karen like a slap. Her ex-husband's betrayal, the empty house, the gossip from neighbors who used to respect her, it all came flooding back. The HOA had become her sanctuary, her source of purpose and power. Without it, she was just another divorced woman in her 50s, living alone with her grievances. "You don't understand," Karen's voice cracked. "When people break the rules, everything falls apart. The property values, the community standards, the whole neighborhood. Look around you, Karen." Dr. Chen gestured toward the chaos. "It's already falling apart." A second ambulance's siren wailed in the distance, growing closer. Karen calculated the time. 14 minutes for response, another 6 for transport. 20 minutes total. Harold's chances were dropping by the second, and she was holding the calculator. Betty Zimmerman stumbled out of the house, tears streaming down her face. "Please," she begged Karen. 42 years of marriage. He's all I have." Karen stared at Betty's anguished face and saw her own reflection, a woman clinging to the last remnants of control in a world that had already moved on without her. The HOA violations suddenly seemed insignificant compared to the weight of a life hanging in the balance. "I have roadside assistance," Karen said quietly, pulling out her phone. "Triple a premium membership. They can have a tire changed in 15 minutes. Rodriguez looked up from his radio. "The backup ambulance just had a collision on Route 9. It's not coming." Karen's hands shook as she dialed. For the first time in years, she wasn't thinking about rules or regulations or property values. She was thinking about Harold Zimmerman, who had always waved at her during his morning walks, who had never once complained about her enforcement of the lawn maintenance schedule. The phone rang once, Twice, Karen closed her eyes and prayed to whatever God watched over suburban neighborhoods and the foolish women who tried to control them.